Hello everyone, it is Mark Berman from TVMI. Once again, I am at the Summer Television Critics Association press tour in the Beverly Hilton Hotel. I am here with my friend and colleague Hillary Atkin. Hello Hillary.
Hi Mark, great to be here with you.
Nice to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Now you are the force behind the Atkin Report. So tell us all about it. What is the Atkin Report for?
Well, the Atkin Report is largely entertainment, which is of course our lifeblood,
Right.
but also encompasses some of what I call lifestyle, meaning the fun things in life like fashion, beauty, dining, travel, hotels. But right now with the Emmy nominations just coming out, and of course us being at TCA,
Right.
I'm all about television.
When did you start the report? How long has it been?
I started it about 5 years ago as a newsletter to people in the industry,
Right.
and then it's a website. There's a Facebook page for it, a Twitter for it, an Instagram, all the fun social media stuff to
Very good.
get the word out.
Very good. We've known each other a long time.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about the Emmy nominations. Now, the Emmy nominations were a few days ago. And, you know, a lot of interesting things. I mean, leading the pack with 19 nominations was Game of Thrones on HBO. I don't think that was a surprise.
No.
Everybody, and Fargo on FX, 18 nominations. I don't think that was a surprise. But here's my first question I want to ask you. Why is it that a show like American Horror Story Coven, now that also I think got 17 nominations, why is that considered a miniseries and not a regular scheduled series? I don't get that.
Well, it's funny. I think a little bit of the system is kind of gamed, so to speak, by the networks. They look at the field,
Right.
and they look at where to enter their shows and where they might have the best chance of winning.
Right.
So I think that's how it started off. And because they change the story each season, although they retain a lot of the same fabulous actors like
Right.
Jessica Lange, it's technically, you could say it is a miniseries because it's an entirely different story.
I guess it's fair enough. I guess they have to figure out ways to get the most attention. Overall, did anything surprise you from the nominations?
You know, people are talking about the big omissions, and, you know, some of them were surprising. Let's first talk about Tatiana Maslany of Orphan
Right,
Black, who
right.
plays 9 different characters. She plays more than enough characters to be in an entire category herself, right?
Right.
But she, for the second year in a row, was passed over, so to speak. And my personal opinion is the show just doesn't have the penetration and the distribution. It's sadly as though it is, and much as we in the industry might really love it and admire it, and it does have a big critical following, I think the general public is not really that aware of it, and I think that Emmy voters pay attention to that. And plus the voting block has gotten so large, I believe it's up to about 15,000 people, and I bet many of the voters had not seen this show yet.
Probably. That's
I
probably
feel
right.
that sometimes it takes years for a show
Yes.
and or its actors to break through.
Well, it did for The Big Bang Theory. You know, look, that's nominated again for Outstanding Comedy. Jim Parsons, Mayim Bialik got a nomination again. I mean, it wasn't nominated in the first few seasons, and it took a while. But to me, you know, the Emmys, and I followed this for decades. I mean, to me, there were certain shows that are favorites, like A Modern Family, for example. Wonderful show. It has won, you know, Outstanding Comedy Series for, I think, 4 years in a row at this point. It's won a truckload of trophies, but at this point, I don't think it's really worthy of all the Emmy nominations, but because, you know, it's familiar and it's comfortable, every year it's going to keep getting nominated, you know?
I think there's a momentum to it.
There's a momentum,
You know?
but I mean, at this point, shouldn't win Outstanding Comedy Series. There's other contenders.
Yeah.
I mean, Big Bang Theory is so worthy, but I don't think that would ever win in that category.
You know,
I
but
mean,
Jim Parsons is a big favorite.
He is a big favorite. And now, to me, one of the blatant omissions, which I was surprised about, was the fact that The Good Wife didn't get a nomination. Everybody's been talking about this season. Now, Juliana Margulies got nominated. But the fact that the show itself didn't get nominated, were you surprised at that?
I was very, very surprised.
Right.
Now, last year it wasn't nominated either, but it was in the previous few years, so it kind of dropped off the map, so to speak.
Right,
and
right.
again, there's definite trends in the voting when you look at who gets in the categories, and a lot of times there is a gap in a long-running show like that.
Right.
But I would have thought that because of the brilliance of this season, that it would have made it back into the pack, and it didn't. So that was very surprising.
Totally. Now, True Detective is in the category, and I think that probably pushed out Homeland. Another surprise. That was the critical darling. Everybody was talking about it. It was winning every award possible. Claire Danes is nominated, but the show isn't. Is that surprising?
Yes, it was. I'm personally a huge Homeland fan.
Right.
And but that goes back to what we were talking about with the mini-series versus the drama series. I really think True Detective should be considered a mini-series. It is doing the exact same thing as American Horror Story.
Exactly.
It's going to come back next year with a completely different story.
Right.
And actually, in this case, different actors. So, to me, it did steal a slot. True Detective stole a slot from another, what I would consider, and you probably would too, a more traditional drama series.
Right.
And of course, with Matthew McConaughey being so acclaimed and Woody Harrelson in the entire show, it wasn't surprising that because it was in that category that it got in, but I agree with you, it knocked out some other worthy contenders, including Homeland.
But that always makes it an interesting race when something new comes in. You have some big names nominated, and suddenly, everybody else is scrambling. But it's always interesting. There's always omissions. There's always, things that you think are going to get nominated. Did anything else surprise you?
Well, this is really the nominations this season are really confirming the power and the impact of Netflix.
Oh, 31 nominations.
Oh my gosh. And for Orange is the New Black and House of Cards, which I just adore and can't get enough of Kevin Spacey and Robin Wright. And of course, they're both nominated. But I think it really, like last year was the first year that Netflix as a whole got into the Emmy game big time. And so this year, there's no going back.
Well, to me, if I'm an actor and I'm looking for a role that's going to give me prestige, I would want to go to a Netflix. I would want to go on an HBO. That's where, they're getting accolades, the sexy shows, the intriguing shows. To me, the broadcast networks seem to be taking a backseat. Once again, how does a show like The Blacklist, that a rating success, the critics loved it, everybody was talking about it, a breakout hit, didn't get nominated?
That was surprising too.
Nothing, right? I don't think it did.
The broadcast networks were completely left out.
Totally shut out.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the debate of doing a broadcast series versus a cable series, or now something on Netflix or another digital carrier. It seems like if you're outside of a broadcast network window, your chances of getting a nomination are greater. You don't feel the same excitement about the broadcast shows. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that.
And here's something that really shocked me. Melissa McCarthy, who I love, and she won an Emmy for Mike and Molly. How did she get back on the ballot? She wasn't on there last year. I don't think she was on the year before, but she did win an Emmy for the role. How does she suddenly get back there when other people are snubbed? How does that happen?
I just didn't keep up with it this season, but perhaps this was an ultra funny season.
It was,
Next question, Mark.
Well, here's another shocker.
I don't know the answer to that. Yeah.
Here's another shocker to me. You have a show like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Now, to me, that's the current Arrested Development. The critics love it. Anyone that watches it loves it, but very few people watch it, and it's never going to be a rating success. Arrested Development, 2.5 years on Fox, nominated all over the place, ultimately went over to Netflix for another season. Brooklyn Nine-Nine didn't get nominated for Outstanding Comedy. Andre Braugher got a nomination, but the show, I was shocked at that.
I was too, and the fact that Andy Samberg didn't get recognized either, who had
won
a Golden Globe.
Yeah, he won a Golden Globe. Now, of the nominations, and this is also strange this year because the ceremony itself is going to be running on NBC. I believe it's August 25th, which is a Monday. Now, traditionally, every year for forever, the Emmys air on Sunday, the night before the traditional start of the new TV season. This year they couldn't. Sunday Night Football. So it feels different to do this in August, doesn't it?
It does, but every time it's on NBC, which is every 4 years, it is very early, but it hasn't been on a Monday. I was having a discussion with some of my television network friends, They were very concerned about the traffic in downtown Los Angeles on a Monday.
Right.
People are going to be leaving work. The Emmys can't shut down downtown. And I said, why didn't they decide to do it on a Saturday? And, you know, why didn't they? That would have been better.
The problem with a Saturday night, I think, in terms of the, you know, the HUT levels, which is the household using television, are so much lower on a Saturday. They were afraid probably the ratings would not be as good. However, when there was something worth watching, even on a Saturday, people would tune in. Now, of all the nominations, everything out there, every category, what would be your one pick as a guaranteed winner? Who do you think? What do you think has that locked in?
I am going to go out on a little bit of a limb, not much, but, you know, nothing really has it locked in. But I'm going to say Fargo is going to be huge.
Totally.
Billy Bob Thornton.
Right.
Matthew McConaughey. Game of Thrones, I think, will actually end up getting more in the technical categories with its 19 nominations. And let's not forget, that's 19 out of 99 that HBO received.
A lot of nominations.
So, but, you know, I'm really kind of a big Fargo person. I was so impressed with that, and actually just FX has really come up in this Emmy world too,
right, of course.
And really competing on the level with the pay cable, prestige cables, and I really give them a lot of credit. You know, with American Horror Story and Fargo, just those two alone. I mean, they're just doing so well.
Absolutely.
But anyway, I'm going to go with Matthew McConaughey, Billy Bob Thornton. We haven't talked about the women yet because it's just so competitive across both the drama categories and the comedies. I mean, why don't I ask you? Do you have any favorite women that maybe if you don't think they're a lock, but that you're rooting for?
You know who I would love to see take home the gold, the Emmy gold? I don't think she will. I love Mayim Bialik. I think she adds so much to The Big Bang Theory. I think since she joined the cast, she wasn't on the first few seasons. There's such a different feel to the show. She works so well with Jim Parsons. Everybody loves Jim Parsons. Give her the Emmy. You know, John Hamm. Not that I think he will win because he won't win, but you know what? He gets nominated so often. Let him have it already. You know, I don't see that happening. Oh, well, he's not a woman, but you asked me about that. Other women, you know, it's hard to say. It is very good. I love Juliana Margulies. I love her. She's won the Emmy once. Would like to see her win it again, but it's a very competitive field. But really, if I had to pick one female, got to go with Mayim Bialik. I want to see her. I want to see Blossom win an Emmy. It's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
You know who I think will continue her Emmy reign is Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Oh, I love Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, and I mean, look at how Julia has won. She won for Seinfeld, for New Adventures of Christine, and then with Veep, she's on an entirely different. She's won with Veep also, and I think she may continue her reign. The Emmys have a pattern, especially in the marquee acting categories, of anointing the same people for several years in a row. So I'm going to go with Julia as she's just such a huge favorite.
I have to double that, and you know, Julia proves that there's no Seinfeld curse, by the way, because she has done quite well. I'm going to end on a final note. I do want to mention one other female because you asked me about women. Edie Falco. Yes. I love Edie Falco. What I love about Edie Falco was the fact that when you watch Nurse Jackie, you don't even remember she was on Carmela Soprano. I mean, it's so completely different. But here's my question to you, which I don't understand. And she's won the Emmy once for Nurse Jackie. How is this considered a comedy? It's not funny.
No.
It's a drama.
It is.
How is this in the comedy category? Right? Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy. I also don't think Orange is the New Black.
That's another thing. Neither do I.
Goes back to what I mentioned at the beginning, and there's nothing technically wrong with this, but I feel that the networks kind of game the category system, and they look at the field and say, which categories do we have the best chance of winning if we enter our show in that category? So I feel that that's what Showtime did with Nurse Jackie. Yes. It's not a comedy. I don't think Orange is the New Black is a comedy.
Well, when she won the Emmy for Nurse Jackie, I remember she gave her acceptance speech and said, This is not a comedy. I'm not funny.
Exactly.
But I'll say, and we can do that. This is great. I want you to come back. This is
Okay,
fantastic.
thank you.
I know, we're longer than we normally run, but this is great. I want to mention one other thing. My shoe-in to who I think will win. I do not think Jim Parsons will win this year in that category, outstanding lead actor in a comedy. I think it's going to go to Louis C.K. I think he's going to win. I think the critics like him. It's a lot of buzz. I think he is my pick for the shoe-in. And the real question to ponder is, and I think your answer is going to be no to this, do they award Bryan Cranston once again for that final season of Breaking Bad? That got 16 nominations.
Yeah, it's so tempting. I think there's a really good possibility. I really do.
I'm going to have to say yes. I think he's going to win again. But it goes back to, again, the whole John Hamm issue. You nominate him every year. Give it to him already. But then again...
But there's one more chance that John Hamm will have,
right,
and that'll be for next year. This is Bryan Cranston's last possible chance to go out in a blaze of golden Emmy glory.
I mean, life certainly goes on after Malcolm in the Middle. Oh my goodness, he just won a Tony.
Yes, I know.
Amazing.
He's a triple threat.
He is a triple threat.
He's Superman.
He's and he never got recognized for Malcolm.
No.
A great show that never got the attention it deserves. But I thank you very much. This is a real pleasure.
Thank you.
I hope you'll come back. Give us your website address. Where can we find you?
It's atkinreport.com, ATKIN report.com.
Wonderful. Well, I thank you very much, Hillary.
Always
a pleasure. We have another 10 days, or at least I have another 10 days here, so maybe you'll come back?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Have a great day, everyone. I will see you back tomorrow. Take care.
Bye-bye.